the gym fell silent. 5 of the toughest kids in school lay sprawled across the mat, groaning in pain, their pride shattered. And at the center stood Mia, the quiet new girl they had mocked for weeks, her eyes calm but burning with something fierce. Nobody knew that behind her shy smile hid a black belt, and a story that would change the entire school forever. Mia Tran stepped into Westfield High with her backpack slung over one shoulder and a heart pounding like a drum. It was her 3rd school in 2 years. Ever since her father had passed away, her mother had been moving from city to city, chasing jobs, and trying to start over. For Mia, starting over meant new hallways, new faces, and new whispers. She had learned to walk quietly, to sit at the back, to stay unnoticed. But Westfield High had its own way of noticing newcomers, and not in a kind way. The moment Mia entered her first class, the whispers began. "Is she Chinese or Korean?" one boy muttered, not caring that she could hear. "Look at her clothes. Thrift store chic," another snickered. She tried to smile it off, remembering what her father always told her, control your reaction, and you control the fight. At lunch, she sat alone under the bleachers with a small box of rice her mother had packed. A group of students from the martial arts club passed by, loud, confident, and arrogant. The leader, Jason Moore, was the star athlete, tall, muscular, and full of himself. His girlfriend, Brittany, and his crew, Connor, Liam, and 2 others, ruled the school halls like they owned them. Jason spotted Mia and smirked. "Hey new girl, you lost? This isn't a library," he sneered. Mia didn't reply. She kept eating, her chopsticks moving gracefully. Jason didn't like being ignored. "Oh, she thinks she's better than us, huh?" Brittany said mockingly. They started imitating her accent, making jokes about martial arts movies, throwing imaginary kicks. The whole group laughed. What none of them knew was that Mia had trained in karate since she was 6. Her father had been her sensei, a national champion, before he died in a car crash 3 years ago. Every night since then, Mia trained alone in her room, repeating his words, discipline first, power second, heart always. She never fought out of anger, only to defend, never to hurt. But that didn't stop the bullies. Weeks passed, and their taunts grew harsher. They pushed her books, called her ninja girl, mocked her accent, even dumped her lunch tray once. Mia said nothing, walking away each time. But inside, the pain built like quiet thunder. Her only friend, a shy boy named Ethan, would sit with her after school and say, "You should tell the principal." But Mia shook her head. "If I fight back with words, they'll never listen. If I fight back with fists, I become like them." One afternoon, the gym teacher announced a new self-defense class after school. It was open to everyone. Jason's crew joined for fun, to show off. Mia hesitated but signed up too, hoping to train quietly. That day, the world shifted. The instructor asked for volunteers to demonstrate basic defense. Jason grinned. "I'll take the new girl," he said. Everyone laughed. Mia stood quietly in front of him, her posture calm. Jason lunged forward playfully, and in a blur, Mia moved. One twist, one sweep, and Jason was flat on the mat, staring up in shock. The room froze. The instructor blinked. "Where did you learn that?" he asked softly. Mia bowed slightly. "From my father," she said. But that small victory had a price. Jason's pride burned hotter than his bruised back. The next day, whispers spread across school, the new girl kicked Jason in class. Jason's crew vowed to get even. After school. The gym. "She's going down," Brittany hissed. Ethan heard the plan and ran to warn Mia. But she only sighed. "I don't want trouble, Ethan," she said quietly. "But if they leave me no choice, I'll defend myself." That afternoon, the showdown began. The gym echoed with taunts as Jason and his friends surrounded her. "So, Sensei's daughter thinks she's tough?" Jason jeered. Mia didn't answer. She dropped her bag, tied her hair back, and took her stance, calm, composed, ready. Jason charged first, wild and angry. Mia sidestepped, pivoted, and swept his leg in one motion. He hit the floor again. Connor came next, swinging. She blocked, twisted his wrist, and flipped him over. One by one, they fell. Each movement was precise, controlled, not to hurt, but to stop. Within seconds, the crew was sprawled across the mat, groaning. The silence that followed was deafening. The same kids who had laughed at her weeks ago now watched in awe. Ethan stood at the doorway, eyes wide with pride. Mia bowed to her fallen opponents, her voice steady. You don't need to be cruel to prove you're strong. Then she turned and walked away, her heart pounding, not from fear, but freedom. The next morning, something strange happened. Instead of laughter or mockery, people greeted Mia with quiet respect. Some whispered her name with awe, others avoided eye contact, ashamed. Jason didn't show up at school for 2 days. When he did, his ego was bruised, but his arrogance had dimmed. During lunch, he approached Mia's table. Ethan tensed, ready to defend her, but Jason's expression was different, no smirk, no swagger. Hey, can I talk to you? He asked. Mia nodded cautiously. He took a breath. Look, I was wrong. I acted like a jerk. You didn't deserve that. His voice cracked slightly, the humility foreign on his tongue. Mia studied him, then said gently, It takes strength to apologize, Jason. More than to throw a punch. He nodded, guilt flooding his face. My dad's been hard on me, he admitted. He thinks being tough means never losing. I guess I believe that too. That day marked a quiet truce. Jason stopped the bullying, and surprisingly, he even began helping others who got picked on. Mia's act of self-defense had rippled across the school like a lesson in humility. The gym incident became legend, but more importantly, it became change. Weeks later, the school hosted a charity martial arts demonstration. The instructor asked Mia to lead. Standing in front of the crowd, under the bright gym lights, she felt her father's presence beside her, warm, proud. She began with a bow and spoke softly into the microphone. Strength isn't about hurting others. It's about protecting what's right, even when your voice shakes. My father taught me that. And I hope everyone here learns that true courage comes from kindness. The audience erupted in applause. Even Jason's crew clapped the loudest. Brittany, once her loudest critic, later approached Mia and whispered, You're kind of amazing. Mia just smiled. After the event, Ethan handed her a small photo frame. Inside was a picture of her father, printed from an old online article about his championship days. So you never forget who taught you to fly, he said. Tears filled her eyes. For the first time in years, they weren't from pain, but from peace. From that day forward, Mia became more than the new girl. She became the symbol of quiet strength, the girl who turned mockery into respect, and pain into purpose. And somewhere deep inside, she knew her father was smiling. Ending hook. They mocked her for being different, but her courage made her unforgettable. Sometimes, the quietest hearts carry the loudest strength, and one act of self-control can silence every bully in the room. So remember, true power doesn't come from your fists, it comes from your heart.